My own. I am completely scatterbrained today. So here I go. I wake up this morning and I am looking everywhere for my live Q&A, right? Because I was like, okay, where is it? I didn't even schedule it. So there's probably no one watching right now. What was I thinking? You people are like, wow, Matt, I thought you were going to have a Q&A, but I don't see where to wait. Oh, geez. So I don't even know. Let me go to, where's the live Q&A? Let me look it up. So if no one's watching right now, wow, what a dummy. What a dummy to do this. I'm so sorry about that, folks. A lot of you probably woke up this morning or wherever you were at and like, well, where is it? Where's Matt's live Q&A? Never mind. There's a few of you. Well, thank you. And I am so sorry that I did not put this on the channel. How did I forget? It's just it hasn't even been that bad of a week. I'm just dumb. I'm just dumb. I cannot believe I forgot that. All right, well, I have only 500 million questions, and you're gonna get some bonus minutes because that was unfair of me not to put this on the schedule or to do it last minute. I mean, I just put this up, and I just sincerely apologize for that. But anyway, I'm done apologizing. I'm gonna put on my Lucasfilm face and stop apologizing. Start what do they do a lot? Say hurtful things to their fans, and then wonder why people don't show up to their theaters to watch their movies. which we'll talk about that as well, I guess. All right, so I do have the live Q&A field up. Hello, hello, hello. All right, don't feel bad if you missed it because you didn't miss anything. All right, so here we go. I've got a few people on. Thank you. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. All right, anyway. All right, so lots of great questions here, guys. Lots of great questions. In fact, I just realized I needed a pen and paper because someone gave me an excellent suggestion for Saturday morning Samoflange. Who is this? Jedi Acolyte. I love your ideas. And we're definitely going to use them. Music 60s through today. Okay. We will use all your suggestions. I forgot to write those down. But anyway, I'm going to meet with Saturday morning Samoflange after this, I think, to record an episode. So I'll let them know. But Jedi Acolyte says, have you checked out the fantasy series called Deltora Quest by Emily Rhoda? No, I have not. Can you recommend a book series by a Star Wars EU author that is non-Star Wars related other than Dune? Because I did mention Dune last time. Remember, Kevin J. Anderson is the only author I think I bought other stuff for. So his Saga of the Seven Sons I thought was good. However, there is something I would love for you to check out if you want to see something good. And these are they're ebooks. And if you have Amazon Prime, they may be free. I can't remember. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it real quick because I meant to look it up. Okay, there it is. All right. It is Wool by Hugh Howey. Just Wool. It's an ebook. It's free if you have Kindle Unlimited. Okay. $6 if you want to buy it. It's a story. It's fantastic. It's a little trilogy. There's Wool, then Shift, then Dust. And those, it's like a trilogy. Now that sounds extremely boring, right? Let me just tell you, sum it up real quick. It's about this guy or these people who live in this silo, and the world is like a nuclear wasteland, you know, and the windows will fog up because of the polluted air, and they have to send someone out there with a wool brush to clean it. Now, once you go out, you can't come back in. It's a death sentence. And they usually give it to the people who commit crimes within the big silo. The silo is like 60 floors down or 120 floors down. It's really big silo. It's like their own little town. But it's very, it's very condensed and it's just one big silo. So anyway, how many times can I say silo in this? I think it's called the Silo series. But anyway, so every time they send someone out, though, they swear that they're never going to clean the window. They said, no, I'm not going to do that. Screw you people. I'm just going to run off to my death. You guys are forcing me to die. I'm not going to do anything for you guys. But every time they go out, they always clean the window and they're super happy and no one knows why. And then they die. And you're like, what just happened? What's going on? That is the first mystery under a whole friggin' layer of mysteries. It is one of the most phenomenal books I have ever read. I think it's called the Silo series, but Wool Shift, which is fantastic. It's like a prequel sequel in a way. And then Dust, which leads to the epic conclusion of the whole thing. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hugh Howley. Check it out. Educate yourself. All right, let's do this. Senator Confer, what are your thoughts on the harassment of Kelly Marie Tran, the actress who played Rose in The Last Jedi, on social media? People that didn't like Last Jedi, people who don't like the new canon, racist people, etc. Okay, first off, no need for racist people. Secondly, the Twitter posts I saw that people were showing as evidence that she was getting harassed wasn't racist. I'm not saying that none of it was racist, because of course I didn't see it all. But I'm just saying the ones that people were showing me weren't bad. It was, you suck, Jar Jar's better than you, you're the most worthless character in Star Wars. Okay, and you do point this out that, okay, how similar is this to Jake Lloyd, who got a lot of hate, Hayden Christensen, who got a lot of hate, Ahmad Best, who played Jar Jar, who got tons of hate. He probably got more hate than Kelly Marie Tran, except we couldn't follow it because Twitter wasn't around back then, or social media wasn't as big back then. I'm sure people got on their MySpace page and talked about how much they hated it. If MySpace was around back then, I can't remember. Anyway, though, so it seems like she just couldn't take the pressure of that. Now, I'm not saying that she's wrong for doing this. I'm not saying that people who harass her are right. Okay, and that's definitely not it. The internet, period. The internet, period, is full of hate. So people are gonna say, you suck, I hate you, blah, blah. That's the price of being famous. That's the price of being famous. You got to just go with it. It looks like she just couldn't take all that. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. She got off Twitter. That's fine. People feel so bad for her, but like I said, and I haven't seen, I never saw all the Twitter posts. So were there racist things said? Probably. Were there just terrible things said? I am sure of it. Because guess what, folks? I have the same thing happen on my channel all the time. So I know it's out there. But for the majority, it was, from what I saw, from what I've seen, you suck, Jar Jar's best, you're a worthless character, blah, blah, I hate you. Your character's so dumb. You're the worst character in Star Wars, hands down. Oh, man, I hope that you don't make it to the third one. Okay, well, that's everything and more of what they were saying about Jar Jar. And Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen, Ahmad Best just shrugged it off. He laughed it off. He's like, well, you can't make all fans happy. But he was okay. Did it bother him? I'm sure it bothered him. He was super excited to be part of Star Wars and to be labeled one of the most hated characters ever. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Hayden Christensen, happy. Now, he retired from acting, but I don't think it was because everyone kept telling him he sucked. It was just like, I'm done. Jake Lloyd, the reason he's messed up, according to him, is he thinks George Lucas ruined his childhood, literally, with that Phantom Menace. So the fans, I don't sense as much anger for the fans around Jake Lloyd. It seems like he hates George Lucas for, and Episode 1 for what it did to his career, what he think it did to his career. But what's the difference between them and her? She just didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to deal with it. Should she have dealt with it? No. Did I tell you it's the price of fame? Yes, it is. But that doesn't mean you have to deal with anybody. I mean, heck, I don't address most of these. I got this one guy recently who's been, the typical EU hater, and then he hates on me, and he's trying to squawk loud enough to just get me to respond to him. Because if I respond to him, he feels like he's important. And I'm not. The stuff he's saying, he's not even watching my videos. It's obvious. because he made a ridiculous statement that I laughed at. I'm going to do a video on it because I thought it was really funny. Matt chat on it. That he thought that it wasn't the EU that saved Star Wars. It was Episode 7, obviously, because there was no such thing as Star Wars before Episode 7. I mean, this guy's like totally clueless. So I'll make my rebuttal on that, but I didn't send him a text, so I'll just ignore it. But there are people on YouTube who can't take the harassment and they shut off their comments. Is something wrong with them? Should they need to lighten up and grow up? Oh yeah, they haven't said anything worse to you than they've had to me. Why did you turn off your comments? Or why did you just, I know people who deleted their channel. There was one girl a long time ago. She was a big fan of the EU and she was super excited that, Star Wars coming back, and she thought the EU was coming back too. And then she didn't understand why Chewbacca got cast. And that was weird. Maybe it's going to be a flashback. And I loved her excitement for the books. She did these little reviews. She loved Young Jedi Knights, and she was like so excited about it. And she was so excited about new Star Wars, but she wanted it to be EU. And I remember getting on there and say, hey, they're going to get rid of it, right? Not to burst. And I kept saying, I'm not trying to burst your bubble. I'm not trying to be mean here, but there's no way they're keeping the expanded universe. And I would remind her, I love the expanded universe, but there's no way they're going to do it. Well, eventually, I don't know what happened, but I guess she was getting harassed by the EU haters and just could not take it and deleted her whole channel, which hurt me because I was like, oh no. She was so much fun. She just loved the EU and everything. I even tried to reach out to her before she deleted her YouTube channel and invite her on early video of podcast of Prince of the Universe. Because I thought, well, maybe I'll have a lot of guest stars on there. That didn't work out so well. But so I wanted her on there because she just had a big love and excitement for the EU, and she never responded. Eventually, she just deleted her channel because she couldn't take the harassment. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can't take the harassment, you have to step away. I understand that. I hope she's doing all right as an actress. But at the same time, what people are blowing up about, they're not mentioning. It's funny, they're not mentioning Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen, Ahmad Best, really the big one there, Jar Jar, because he's the one that got the most harassment. You should feel sorry for him. Anyway, though, it is terrible, though, when that happens. Okay, John, a lot of questions. Here we go. I know you love Ewoks. If I remember correctly, I think you wrote a story about returning to Endor. Would you like to see a story about a grown-up Sindel Tatwani, perhaps reuniting with Wicket and Teak? Yes, I would love to see that. That's why I wrote Return to Endor, which is where? It's back here somewhere. It's in this stack of stuff there. There it is right there. And I need to rewrite that story, maybe flesh it out a little bit. But yes, I love the Ewok movies, and I'd love to see a grown-up Sindel return to Endor. That was the whole purpose of my little short story that sucked. I used to read portions of it on Prince of the Universe and then stop because I got too tickled and it wasn't that good. Some of it was pretty good, I thought. Let's see. In your opinion, how far backward in time can a story take place until it just isn't Star Wars anymore? Man. I don't know. I mean, I thought Tales of the Jedi. Remember, I was always against them going back in time. I mean, the timeline. I was against Tales of the Jedi when it came out, and I was so wrong. It was such a great series. And then I accepted the Old Republic. And then they went further back with Dawn of the Jedi. I was like, oh, this is a bigger mistake. And unfortunately, Dawn of the Jedi didn't get, and I've said this before a million times, they didn't get to expound on it as much. I think that the book sucked, but the comic book was getting interesting. Was it the best comic book I've ever read? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it was catching my interest. It was catching my interest. Could they have gone further back? Yes, but geez Louise, I couldn't take it anymore. I don't think if Dawn of the Jedi would have continued, there's a chance that the comic book would have been something. And there's a chance that the comic book would have been just ho-hum. So for me, I wouldn't want them to go back any further than Dawn of the Jedi, but this is me. Remember, if you'd have asked me this before Dawn of the Jedi came out, I'd have told you I don't want them to go further back than Tales of the Jedi. I don't like to hear stories way back in the Stone Age. I just don't. And way too far in the future either. I want to keep it in the medium, in the now, or within the movies at least. That's just me. What do you think Luke does after Crucible? He is close to retiring from his position as Grand Master of the Jedi Order. We know he wants to, but if you remember, he can't, because when he leaves, the whole place, the whole Jedi Order crumbles. So yeah, he's going to be establishing a leader, I think. I think he goes off in pursuit of Abeloth and with the Jedi. I think he's got some lost tribe of the Sith to deal with too. So Luke's going to be busy for a long time. There will not be a successor for a long time. And it wouldn't be Jannah. I don't think Jaina would go away, and she would, I think, in my opinion, she would have formed the Grey Knights that we see in Legacy, because Jag's, connected to the Empire, so it makes sense she goes with him to the Empire, and she creates the Jedi Knights. Now, does that open the doors for Ben Skywalker? He's a little too young, so possibly not. Maybe someone else takes hold. I always thought it'd be Kyle Katarn, but the books never wanted to mention him, hardly. We didn't want to talk about Kyle Katarn for some reason. But I always imagined it would kind of be him to kind of, sit on the council for a while until Ben got old enough. But who knows? But I don't think he would have retired immediately. I know he was thinking about it, but I don't think the story would have allowed it. Okay, so as you know, John puts up videos. He currently has 3 up. He said, I produced 2 more showcase of my favorite pieces of the EU. How would you advise me to come up with more ideas to be more terse? John, when you're making videos of the EU, make sure you can talk about your love, you can talk about the finer points of it like I did. I would, if you tend to ramble, what you can do is you can have a bullet points for my monthly update. I have a board, it's over there. I have a little dry erase board I put up in front of me, and I'm gazing at that board every once in a while to make sure I'm hitting all the points. Now you see some edits in there because sometimes I'm like, no, dadgummit, I forgot to write something on there, or I have to cough or sneeze or do something. And so, but I have the lineup right there on a dry erase board so I can look it up, and so I can keep on point with my outlines. I don't do that much with anything else because I practice everything else. But you can also practice and rehearse if you have problems rambling. I always rehearse. Every time I do a Matt's Expanded Universe, I walk around the room and I kind of talk about what all I want to talk about. I mean, I say it in completeness. These are the 5 comic books I'm going to talk about today, or the 2 short stories and the comic book I'm going to talk about today. Okay, what do I want to talk about these? And I kind of look at it and start rambling. But I want to make sure whatever I say at the, in my practice is probably what I'm going to say when I'm live on camera. Sometimes things change, of course, because I do want to keep it kind of loose. But you can do that. Another thing, find a niche. My niche, when I stopped doing the defending the EU, because let's be honest, I had said everything I could about defending the EU. There's a few things here or there that pop up every once in a while that I'll address. But I didn't want to repeat myself, too. I see a lot of people, a lot of channels, and they like to repeat themselves. And that's fine. People like hearing that. For me personally, I don't. So I want to do fresh and new. So when I started the Expanded Universe videos, I wanted to do not just a book review, because you can go anywhere. And you want to get an in-depth book review with spoilers galore, there are people who review it. Okay, sure, they don't have as much energy as me, but no one does, right? I got Red Bull running through these veins sometimes. But I'm also get excited when I'm talking about the EU. Folks, when I sit down in front of that camera, I get excited because it doesn't matter what. This is so stupid. It sounds so geeky. But when I'm even doing like Ewoks children's books, I'm going, I'm super excited. You can tell that in the videos a lot of the time. And but every smile is genuine. Everything I talk about every time, even if it's a comic book I think is so, I'm excited to talk about Star Wars, man. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. But so yeah, make sure you have a love for it. Don't ever make it seem like, oh well, I have to do my little checklist here. So let me review this next, I guess. I really don't want to do this one, but I got to do this one if I want to do that one. Don't do that. Do something that's fun. Do something that's unique. Just show your love of it. It doesn't have to be as energetic as me. It just has to be a love. Like I said, the other girl who did videos, who deleted her channel, she just had a love for it, and you could tell. And I love seeing videos like that where people have a love for the EU. I love seeing videos. There's another guy on here. If he pops up on the Q&A, I'll call him out. But I love his videos. He's very passionate about Star Wars. Gets a little angry at Disney from time to time. But that's because he's passionate about the EU. And see, I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, I hope that helps. Just got in touch with Joe Bongiorno. Great guy. Great guy. We emailed our nerdy message back and forth. Great guy, as I understand. You have some interactions with him as well. Yes. Joe is, I count him as one of my good friends. I've spoken to Joe a billion occasions. Folks, I use his expanded timeline, StarWarsTimeline.net. I use that for Matt's Expanded Universe a lot of the time. It comes from Pablo. It comes from him, and very small portion comes from Wikipedia. But mainly it comes from him now. And I just talking to him about behind the scenes stuff, and he points me in the right direction of who to talk to. Joe is so knowledgeable, and to be honest, I wish it was him doing the videos. I really do. He seems to just have such a huge knowledge of it, and he is the man behind the curtain, so to speak, for me. Because a lot of times, and I gotta give some props to Rich Hanley too, because I do talk to that man as well. And I have fallen in love with both of those guys. They're just fantastic people. They're fantastic people. They're so full of life and just happy. They're not bitter at anyone. Things could have gone one way. Things didn't go their way, but they're fine with that. These guys are seriously just good guys. Just even if they don't like the Expanded Universe, they'd be labeled as just great guys in my book. But yeah, he's super. I can't talk. I cannot talk good enough about Joe. I love Joe. How do you think the newer Star Wars films would have turned out if Disney had kept the EU and made the sequel trilogy 50 years after the Battle of Yavin? Also, would you have cared to see any new content after Legacy comic books? First off, Rob, for me personally, no. I think Legacy was way too far. Now, did I enjoy Legacy? Yes, I did. But remember, I complain about everything. I'm such an old man. Like, what? 100 years in the future? What is it? No, I don't want to see this. And then I loved it. You know, I love Legacy. So I wouldn't like to see anything further than that. Now, if Disney would have kept the EU, they could have done it easily. Just like you said, push it a little bit in the future. Say Chewbacca's dead and don't address it, because Lando's not around and they won't address that, you know. So it could have been done super easy. Continue on to new stories. You didn't have to mention anything that happened in the EU, just that it happened and here's the story now as we know it. And if they said like even 10 years after Crucible or something like that, we could have connected the dots, right? We could have connected the dots. In fact, that would have been smart to have Luke play. Maybe Luke's in his 60s now, but he's playing an 80-year-old man. That's fine, because, you know, he can play someone who's older than him. And as the movies come out every other year, you can say, okay, this happened the next day. If Luke looks older, it doesn't matter. He's matching his character, right? So I think they easily could have done that, but they didn't want to. So they may be regretting that now after Solo, right? All right, Michael. Dang, these are a lot of questions here. What are your words and opinions about Marvel is still reprinting the Star Wars Epic Collection for Dark Horse with continuation of the Expanded Universe? Michael, I don't think I understood that question properly, but I love that Marvel's reprinting these. I think they're doing a fantastic job reprinting a lot of the Dark Horse stuff, because they're also putting in hard to find stuff. If I remember, they're putting things in order, and the books look beautiful. The hardbound copies look just wonderful. If I didn't have the collection and I had a ton of money, I would start buying those. I think they're doing great. Would they continue the Expanded Universe and new stories? No, they wouldn't. Would I want Marvel comic books to do legend stories? Maybe. I'm not. If they did EU comic books, I'd be fine with that. Of course, I'd be happy with that. I would want EU books more. Okay, if that makes sense. I'm not opposed to more EU comic books coming out from Marvel. That's fine. I would buy them, of course. But I would really hope that Del Rey would be able to print some new Legends books. 2, have you been going with Juno Eclipse on tour with Natalie Cox Force Unleashed project? No, I haven't. I haven't. I need to check that out. Do you have any words about the Canadian writer Drew Karpyshyn to have the opportunity to continue writing more Star Wars books after the Old Republic Darth Bane where he had left off? I know he had expressed interest in that, and I'd love to see him write another one. I think that was great. I think that's a great idea for Legends books. Just call it Legends, you know, Old Republic, and bring out some more Darth Bane stories. I'd love to read that. That'd be awesome. And then that show people how popular Legends still is. Since you mentioned the Marvel Expanded Universe several times during your video broadcast, which Marvel superhero is your favorite, and which Marvel film do you like most? We also want to hear about your thoughts on the Marvel company and Star Wars company. Well, Marvel's doing things right, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But what is my favorite Marvel superhero? It has to be Spider-Man. Homecoming was good. Is it my favorite of the Marvel movies that are out? What's my favorite? Is it the first Avengers movie? Maybe? No, it's Deadpool. that was quickly decided. It's Deadpool, the first one. Yeah, I love Deadpool. I thought Deadpool was shockingly funny, and for a guy who really didn't care about Deadpool, that's amazing. So differences between Marvel and Star Wars. Well, here's the deal. Oh boy, I've been wanting to talk about this. I almost did a Matt chat about it, but I decided, well, I'll do it live. Maybe I'll do a Matt chat later about this too. Total BS by the media. Not saying, oh, it's because these Star Wars fatigue. These movies came out 5 months apart. Really, because Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War came out 2 months apart, and they made hundreds of millions of dollars. 2 months apart, right? What? Oh, but Star Wars is, oh, you know, and fans can't spend another $8-9 on a ticket within 5 months. That's just way too much. That was the real reason. They brought them out too close together. Or, you know, movies around this time don't do very well, really, because Wonder Woman last year did gangbusters. And there's other, you know, of course, Avengers supposed to come out around that time, did fantastic too. Movies and Deadpool 2 did fantastic. Came out the week before, did fantastic. So movies do well in May around that time. But the media is trying to cover it up and pretend it's not the fans. Fans are furious over what, the EU? Some, yes. But The Last Jedi. Fans are furious. Did you see DVD sales? I had the article I sent to Bruce. Oh, where I should post this article. There's an article about how they are $40 million down in sales and DVD sales from what they made from Force Awakens. So not as many people, just like the toys. The toys, no one was buying. The DVDs, not as many people are buying. Solo, no one's buying. What does that tell you? What happened between now and then? Last Jedi came out. Last Jedi was a real big hurt. It hurt them. They made money off it, but it hurt them because the fans seem outraged. The fans really seem mad. And so there is trouble brewing. I did say earlier that I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is going to get fired. I still don't believe that. I think they're going to wait and see when episode 9 comes out to see what happens. I did hear there's a rumor, very light grain of salt here, folks. There's a rumor that she's leaving in September. I don't believe that rumor at all. But I do believe they're looking at these numbers going, oh, this is not good. You know, but she does not get along with directors, obviously. She's fired several of them, or they've left the project, you know, or one or the other. Writers have also left as well. So there's a little trouble behind the scenes in production. But they have ticked the fans off. But on top of that, they've refused to apologize to the fans, and they're saying stuff like, Rian Johnson, we're going to give them more movies. And Rian Johnson goes, you know what, fans? I get to make more movies, and you got to deal with it. I'm glad, his phrase, I'm glad I ruined your childhood. Okay, well, you know what? When people are upset, this is customer service 101. When someone's upset, you don't laugh at them. You don't say, well, I'm glad you're not happy with our product. Oh, you're going to leave? Go right ahead. And you say that in front of everyone? That looks bad. What, Rebel First Radio reached out to Lucasfilm, and they're a big podcast, and they said, hey, why are Lucasfilm employees treating fans like garbage? And they gave examples on Twitter and social media where Lucasfilm associates, maybe, and of course Chuck Wendig's name was in there. Oh, big surprise. About mocking fans who don't like The Last Jedi or calling them racist or bigots, even though they didn't say anything racist about it. They just said they just didn't like it. Oh, you don't like strong women. No, I hated the movie. I just hated the movie, you know. And it's funny because I don't see anyone accusing people of hating white males because they didn't want to go to Solo, you know. So it's just so weird here how they're just openly attacking fans, and they think this is okay, and they are driving people away, folks. They are free falling right now. They are in some serious trouble if episode 9 doesn't work for them. If it underperforms at the box office, there's going to be some panic at Lucasfilm, and there are going to be some heads that are going to be rolling. Heads will roll. People will. You'll see this if they look at the pre-number outlook, the forecast of how this movie goes. I guarantee you, if it doesn't look good, Kathleen Kennedy is going to resign. Just say, okay, I'm done. Episode 9's been done. My job here is done. Bye. I've had a great time. We accomplished what we set out to do. It's not going to be like, I know this is going to suck, so I'm going to leave before I get fired. That's not what she's going to be saying, but that's exactly what she's saying when she leaves. And that's not going to be the first one. I think Bob Iger is going to clean house, you know, because Star Wars is supposed to make tons of money. If it's not making tons of money, he has a problem with it. So it's going to be one of those things that, and like I said, her idea of her plan is to bring one movie out every year, and they have no plan on what the movie is going to be about because Rian Johnson said, oh, they didn't know what episode 8 was going to be about. They said, make something up. And you see stuff like that. You see they obviously don't care. They're just trying to print money, and it's not going to fool the fans. The fans aren't that dumb. Anyway, that's probably more of an answer than you wanted to get. But, all right, can you do more explanation on what Star Wars Celebration means to you? You're thinking about traveling, opportunity from home. What you think about coming to the Canadian Star Wars community of fans that wanted what you wanted from the expanded universe? Will you think about coming to Canadian Star Wars community of fans to get what you wanted from the expanded universe? Star Wars Celebration means to you from the first place you were traveling. I don't know this question either. I don't understand it. I like Star Wars Celebration. I would have loved it back in the day. Now it's not that big a deal to me. I know the next one next year is going to be in Chicago. I would like to go, but that is still to be decided right now if I'm going to attend. I'd love to. I just don't know. Ray Blitz. Do you know George Lucas visited the set of Solo and even directed a scene from the film? Okay. Nice. Currently reading Legacy of the Force. What do you recommend I read afterwards? Can I go back and read New Jedi Order? Yes. In fact, for me, Rave, I would have said you have to read New Jedi Order. But I know now you don't. You can read if you would have asked me before I did my videos, Matt, where should I start? I'd always say, oh, start from the beginning, Truce of Bakura, and go all the way up. Or back in the day, start in the Old Republic and go all the way up. You know, you had to start in one of those two places because then you could get all the references. And then I realized how stupid that was because people were saying, yeah, my first book was Young Jedi Knights. Well, Young Jedi Knights, what? Did you ever wonder how Luke and Leia had them kids? Did you ever wonder where them kids came from or what adventures they had or what I just went nuts. I was like, how can you read just you knew? And then I realized you can start anywhere in the EU. That's the beauty of it. Even though it all connects, you can read it separately. So you can read Legacy of the Force first and not be too lost and read New Jedi Order or not be lost at all. A buddy of mine read Millennium Falcon. That was his first one. He said he was a little confused. He knew something had happened before then, but he said he enjoyed the book. I went, how can you enjoy Millennium Falcon when you haven't read the big story that came before it? What? But you know what? Any book is has a self-contained story, and it's easy to read. That was one of the beauty of the EU. Even though it all connects, it also can be separated to read one book, and you don't miss out on anything. Like I said, in New Jedi Order, there was a ton of West End Games references that I missed the first time through. I didn't get them. They were in there, and I didn't know because I didn't read West End Games. When then I started reading West End Games, I'm like, wait a minute, that was the name of the guy from New Jedi Order. Wait, what? You know, and then I started making the connections backwards a lot of the time. So, yeah, did I not enjoy New Jedi Order as well because I didn't know all those references back then? No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. But now if I read it again, it'd be even better because now I know more and it connects to more stuff. So you can read wherever you want, Ray. But yeah, you can go back and read New Jedi Order. John Jones, what do you think about the TV show based on the New Jedi Order? Who would you cast? I love these who would I cast, John, because I don't know celebrities that well. I don't know who I would cast for New Jedi Order. I would love to see that. That'd be an awesome, that'd be HBO because of the violence that would be in that TV show. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. It would never happen, so I don't know who I would cast. I don't know. Who would be a good Kip Duran? I don't know. Who would be a good Jaina and Jason, Anakin? I want to say I thought about this once a long time ago, but those kids are all changed, and I do not know actors. I'm so bad at actors and actresses' names. I am completely terrible. Like I'll see someone on TV, and the missus is great on it, and I'll tell her, I'll say, hey, I said, who's that lady? And she'll tell me the actress's name right off the spot. And I was like, well, what was she in? She went, she was in blah blah and blah blah. I was like, no, what's another movie? She said, well, hold on, I'll look it up. But those were some she had off the top of her head. So my wife knows even, co-star characters or side part characters. She knows their name, what other movies they've been in. So most of the time I just rely on her. So if she knew more about the New Jedi Order, she could definitely tell you, but I can't. Lego Star Wars. What do you think of Episode 1, Darth Maul's Revenge book, and Star Wars Junior Sith Attack book? Anything that was spinoffs of the Episode 1 movie, mean from a kid's perspective, I didn't read. I skipped over, like the Jedi Journals a lot of the times, purposeless, could just my thoughts during the events of Episode 1. I don't go for all that. So I didn't read the Junior Sith Attack book, Anyway, QA, Brendan, I read QA. When Palpatine sent Mara to kill Luke on Tatooine, did he do it to test their potential as his new apprentice? Did he do it to test their potential as his new apprentice? Both of them? I don't know if he was doing it for Luke. I think Mara was just a tool. I don't think he had any purpose to make her apprentice. I mean, yeah, he could have had backups if Vader didn't work out, but I think she was just using her as a tool. I don't think Palpatine was that mischievous about it. Brendan, again, do you think the EU could eventually get so big that it could be problematic? Like if it's so big to take up as much time as the history of the Jedi to get through it. I mean, yeah, because if it goes on, I mean, there's 30 years of content behind me, or 35 years of content. It would take someone a long time to read all this. And what if the EU had kept going? It would have taken even longer, right? But it wouldn't have gotten too big. It would have been problematic as long as they would have grazed in other pastures, meaning stay away from the rebellion era. Oh, my goodness. Stop doing stories there. Start doing stories in new areas and start progressing the story out into other places. If you haven't grown like that, then it will never become problematic because history can stretch on forever in both directions. Even though I was against anything earlier than Dawn of the Jedi, they could do that. They could fill in the blanks between Dawn of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi, the Old Republic era has tons of stories left untold because it's stretched out for thousands of years. The future also can hold out for other things too, but eventually the story would have to grow. And I would want to, because that's a good thing about the expanded universe. The story grew with us. The Marvel comic books were kiddie, but we were kids back then, or grew with me, I should say. As I got older, the Banner books were great, but Del Rey took it a step further and said, hey, guess what? Our reading group has gotten older. We need to grow up with our readers. And they did. And they could continue to mature the story as it moves forward. Eventually, Luke, Leia, and Han would have to go away. And I don't know. Anyway, so I think they could have done a fine job with it. Now, let me check. Live Q&A there. Okay, that's still going on. All right, making sure nothing stopped here. Okay, so everything's good. Yes. All right, so, ooh, there is a lot to catch up with. All right, let's see here. Q&A, what do you think of Vader's Return of the Jedi Blu-ray? It sucked. Brendan says, Brendan, you just asked a bunch of questions. You just put several posts in here. All right. Do I think Timothy Zahn has too rosy an outlook on Star Wars in it that seems to think that all the major good guys need to survive? I don't think he has too rosy an outlook on Star Wars. I think the good guys usually do survive. And in his world, the good guys always survive. And that's just how he wants to write his story. So that's fine. I don't think it's too rosy. He's not much for killing characters off, that's for sure. Do you think Chewie's death was over the top? Absolutely not. In fact, I said this a long time ago when we were writing the Sequart book. I remember, oh gosh, I forgot her name. The chief editor of Del Rey at the time, Sue Rustoni, was on there, and she was going to write a piece. And she had asked everyone, "Hey guys, what does anyone have any suggestions for me?" And so I emailed her. I emailed Sue Rustoni, and I said, "You should write a story. You should write a story behind the scenes about Chewbacca's death, and what decisions went into it, and why you thought it was a good decision." I said, and then call it Chewbacca, subtitle, "No regrets." I do not regret it. And here I got on to Rian Johnson for saying, whatever, fans were upset about Chewbacca dying, but I thought it was a great decision. And I think she should have used this as a platform to talk about why it made such a good call. Now, to be honest, I would love to see Sue Rustoni write that today, right now, because I thought it was a great decision. Did I want to see Chewbacca die? No, I did not. I did not want to see him die. But I thought it was a great decision to set the tone for the new books. Excellent decision by Del Rey. Excellent. One of the best decisions in EU writing. Do you think that when Luke defeated Vader, it was a triumph or failure because it struck him? He struck at him in anger. Well, obviously a failure, right? Luke realizes that and corrects himself because he did strike him in anger. So obviously, I think Luke would consider that a failure. Do you think it's funny that only C-3PO had his mind wiped? This means that R2 knew everything during the original trilogy. I've always thought about that. I think that's hilarious. I think isn't it funny that R2 is maybe just like a little turd. He's just like, yeah, I know what's going on, but I ain't telling you, dummy. Luke, and as mischievous as R2 can be, I can see him doing that too. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. That was funny. I do believe so. If you watch the original trilogy with that in mind, it is kind of funny. Where do you imagine Luke scattered Anakin's ashes? I don't think he scattered them. I think he left them on the pyre, the fire, and then just left them there. Because and remember, the Jedi Academy trilogy, Kip finds them. So he didn't really scatter his ashes. Tarkin said the Jedi are extinct. Their fire has gone out. You're the last. You, my friend, are what's left of their religion. Does that mean even Tarkin doesn't know Palpatine was a Sith, or that they're what the Sith are? I don't think many people knew Palpatine was a Sith, besides Vader and the Royal Guard and a few of his trusted, advisors. Because if you remember in Episode 3, he's not saying, "By the way, I'm Lord of the Sith and I'm here to save you from the Jedi." No, he says he's still pretending to be, the counselor or the emperor, but he's just a poor, weak man. And look what the Jedi have done to him. And so I think he kept that persona, but inside he was super powerful and he didn't want anyone to know it. Only close people close to him knew. So no, I don't think Tarkin knew. I think he thought that Vader was the number one hit. And for some reason he was under the Emperor's thumb, which he knew the Emperor had power. And I'm sure he feared the Emperor because was it Darth Vader's afraid of the Emperor? What's going on here? Why is it Darth Vader leading us? The Emperor must be really bad. I don't know what's going on. He has something on Vader. So I don't think he knew. No. I don't think most people knew. Do you think you might add a forum to the Expanded Universe website? I want to. Chris doesn't. Chris doesn't because he doesn't want to turn into a fan a new the new canon bashing or kind of abusive. You can't control that over a forum, but I would like to think with the people that we have checking the website and the people that we have, I think for the most part, everyone would behave themselves. I think you would act like adults because I have only seen maturity from all of you. All of you, I've only seen maturity, which I've been so thankful for that because level-headed, you're more level-headed than most fans. And to put a forum on the website, I think for the most part, would it have a troll? Would it have people hating on it? Yes, it would have all that stuff that Chris fears. But I don't think that's what the forums would turn into. But I've got to convince him of that. I would love to have a forum, though. Do you think it's odd that Yoda twice said, once you start down the dark path, forever it will dominate your destiny, when surely he must have been aware that there were those throughout history who had fallen to the dark side and were saved? Yes, but at what consequence? Look at Ulick Qel-Droma, not allowed to use the Force anymore. Look at Luke. After the Dark Empire adventure, he is so timid to do anything that may bring him close to the dark side again that he's too hesitant, and hence the mess of New Jedi Order, right? Because Luke was too hesitant to do things because of his past experience. In fact, he recounts this in other books too, that he walked too close to the edge there. That time he turned to the dark side, it's tainted him, a lot, and it's made him really, in a way, fears of the dark side. But he's way too hesitant, timid to go forward because he doesn't want to. He could have ended the crisis in all the books from the Legacy of the Force series. He could have ended it immediately, but he said, "Oh, but if I do that, what happens if I turn to the dark side by doing that? Oh no, I better not do that. I better let someone else do it because I don't want to go to the dark side." And so he's a little too timid at times, and that's his big weakness, right? Too. That's what I love about Luke. So I think it did dominate his destiny. It doesn't mean they can't be saved. They won't go lead a terrible death like Exar Kun or Gantoris or a few other characters too who never came back. But those people who are tainted by the dark side, it does dominate their destiny. So I think what Yoda said is correct. All right, and Blackest Night. Hi, Matt. I know you mentioned that you already have talked about Solo's poor box office returns in Matt Chat, I believe. But if you were to write a Han Solo movie, what would it look like? Would you include within a 2-hour? What would you include within a 2-hour film? I wouldn't do one, to be honest. If I did, it'd have to be with regular Hans. I wouldn't recast Harrison Ford. He's too classic. I'd keep him, maybe if I had to do one, I'd keep him and talk about what he's been doing in between episode 6 and 7, I guess, if it's for the new canon. But if it was old canon stuff, it would be Han and Han on his last epic romp through the galaxy with the Millennium Falcon. Like the Millennium Falcon gets destroyed or something. Or maybe even Han dies in that. I don't know. Something like that would be cool. One last smuggling trip or one last heroic event. On a similar note, would you want to feature or standalone movie, assuming Lucasfilm would make one? I don't think they'd make a Legends style movie. It'd be nice to see. I think the chances of that are absolutely zero. But yeah, that'd be fun. But I'd be happy with just the books. If Del Rey said, "Hey guys, we're gonna start bringing out Legends books too," I'd be totally happy doing cartwheels. I can't even do a cartwheel, but I would attempt to do a cartwheel. And then in the hospital, I would celebrate online because I'd probably break my neck or something. Josh Farr says, have you seen Daredevil Netflix? If so, what do you think about it? Yeah, I do love it. I love the Kingpin. Kingpin makes that show, man. Fantastic. Do you think they should do a story in the EU set 200 years after Return of the Jedi? Well, I just answered that one. No. But that's just me. What'd you think of Avengers Infinity War? Oh, we haven't talked about this on Prince of the Universe, have we? I'll talk about it more on the podcast, but Avengers Infinity War was okay. I hate the to be continueds, which is just part 1, part 2 is coming out next year. So for me, I was like, and if you think all those characters are dead, you're an idiot. They're obviously not dead, so it's kind of anticlimactic. Not saying it was bad. It was fine. It was fine. For a movie, it did fine. Pacing was great and everything. But it was like, why do you want to do this? Because you know these people aren't dead. You know they're going to come back because even some of them have movies slated to come out next year. It was like, what was the point of doing that? There was one girl crying in the movie theater, I guess because she's dumb, because she thought everyone was dying for real. Like they were just killing, Marvel was killing off their entire franchise and saying bye-bye to billions of dollars. I don't know. For me, the ending was just like, it wasn't sad, it wasn't dark, it was just pointless, And by the way, I'm going to say this on the Prince of the Universe podcast, but I have now guessed the ending to Avengers Infinity War, and I think I'm right. Could Anakin Solo beat Darth Maul or Galen Merrick, Starkiller, in a one-on-one fight? Could Anakin Solo beat Darth Maul? Yeah, That'd be a tough one. I'd love to see that. Anakin Solo versus Darth Maul. That'd be a great match. I don't know who would win. I'm gonna go with Anakin Solo. But I'm gonna go with Star Killer over Solo. Anakin Solo. And wow, that's a good one. All right. If you had to go to a convention dressed as an EU character, who would you go as? An EU character? Oh man. Kip Duran, obviously, as a Jedi, but Bullocks and Blue Max from Brian Daly's series would be pretty awesome too. Private message me if you want another answer. I can't say what that answer is. There's another funny one too I'd like to go ask. Anyway, I have seen your 8080Q says, I've seen your Prima official strategy guides for LucasArts Wars, part of the EU book collection. I got the guide for TIE Fighter yesterday. Such a great book because it narratively tells the events of the game in story form. It is fantastic, I agree. Which is great because obviously my computer can't play the games anymore. Which other guides are worthwhile to get in your opinion? Would guides from KOTOR or Bounty Hunter be worthwhile? Do they have any detail of the EU aspects in the game in book form? No, they don't. Any others you think are necessary for EU overall? Get X-Wing, the strategy guide. Get the, what's it called? Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. Because it has a short story in it. And that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. But that's fantastic that they wrote the strategy guide as a book. Brilliant idea, because you kind of get a cross of two different kind of fans getting that. Now, I didn't know the guide was a book, but it is. It tells a story as it's teaching you how to play the game. It doesn't make it it's not a fantastic book by any means, but I love that idea. I love that we're getting it in story form. It's beautiful. I love those guides. So yeah, good stuff. And then he says, I saw in someone's book collection a posted picture of a hardback book called Lightsaber by Tom Veitch. I thought this was a canceled title. Was it ever printed officially or officially? Obviously, unofficially, if you saw it. Lightsaber was the story between Dark Empire 1 and 2. Tom Veitch did not print it. He wrote it. He completed it. Remember, I told you, who was it that told me this? The artist, oh my goodness, I'm looking at his art right here. What's his name? The big artist. Y'all are probably telling me in the chat right now, and I don't know. Dave Dorman. There it is. Dave Dorman told me that he had finished it, and he was going to do art for it, but he never got released. Now, there are a handful of copies out there. So, but Tom Veitch would never approve that to be out because that's his story. He's not giving it to Star Wars. He's not giving it to anyone. But there are a handful of copies out there. Rick DeWall, do you think Disney will stop printing the Legends books in the future? Do I need to hurry up completing my EU collection? As the new books get more and more, come out more and more, they'll eventually stop, right? All good things must come to an end. I mean, that the Legends books have gotten this much reprints and they've gotten so many publications has been incredible, right? But they keep selling, which is why they keep printing them. Eventually, they will phase them out because they've got other books to do. I mean, a book does not stay in print this long. It's wild how the EU has stayed in print this long. This is so unusual for any book, especially books that are 20 years old are still getting reprinted. What? That is unbelievable. Not much. I mean, you know, Frank Herbert's Dune, Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings, Narnia probably gets a few reprints here and there, and they've been longer. But only big classics get reprints, Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that, Moby Dick. But to see the Star Wars books still going after so long, it's incredible to see. Now, eventually, all good things must come to an end. However, Rick, you'll be able to get these anywhere. eBay, secondhand, online, flea markets. I see them at flea markets all the time. So they're still pretty easy to get. All right. Sean O'Neill. Wow, a ton of questions, Sean. Is Leia eligible to be elected Queen of Naboo? Should she is half Nabooian? Yeah, she would, but she would never want to do that. Do you think Mandalore should be, in fact, Sean, that's a great idea for a story. I didn't think about that. That'd be an awesome idea, right, for Naboo to come into the story. Do you think Mandalore should be split into 2 planets, New Mandalore, to avoid the Clone Wars continuity? No, remember, Leland Shee actually laid this out, said Mandalore for a short time tried to erase their memory of who they were and try to come up with this new image. It didn't work, so they reverted back to their old, old ways, which I love that explanation. And he did that right before Disney switched over. They switched over to Disney, which was just fantastic. It was fantastic. That was one of the greatest contributions Leland Shee ever gave to continuity. The Separatists are my favorite faction. Really? In the EU, if the EU is continued, we'd like to see them return as a minor faction during the New Republic Vong era. Okay. The Separatists eventually morphed into what I think became the Rebels, the Rebellion. So I think they're still around, but as the Rebellion now. I know that sounds weird, but I think they eventually did that. So in the Second Galactic Civil War, a continuation of the Clone Wars, revolt against Central... Oh, wait. Is the Second Galactic Civil War a continuation of the Clone Wars, revolt against centralization? Yeah, you can see it as that. You can. The Republic had gotten too old. It didn't care as much. People were dissatisfied with the sluggish Republic. Here, the Empire is too dominating and too controlling. So I think they are 2 different reasons why the war is getting fought. But you could say that. Why are there only 3 states represented in the Galactic Triumvirate and the Legacy era? Was it more like the UN Security Council? I'm not sure. Political, these are the good political questions. I don't know that one. If a droid army was so deadly and lethal, why doesn't any other military continue to use droid at the Clone Wars, or are they not superior military technology? Well, obviously not, because they got to be controlled by one place, right? And if that, whatever, if that, like in episode 1, if the droid communication hub gets destroyed, then all your droids go to pieces. So are droids bad? No, but building a droid army could be looked at as, if someone's building one, everyone else would be like, hey, what's that army going around there? And that would look bad. So I guess that's why. That never was explained to us, but there's a few reasons. They could short out. They could not do, they would make good bad guys, and they were, a good armies for certain warlords, but you didn't see them as much. Maybe they're expensive to do too. If Megiddo, the Mulist, were separatist strongholds, why did the writers make those worlds Imperial remnant homeworlds? Why were they not rebel? During the war, planets come and go. They get captured and recaptured. And obviously, without having to give us an explanation, and I didn't really worry about that they didn't give us an explanation for that, just that they were captured, or they were now Empire, but they were separatists back in the day. 20 years has passed since those 2 stories came out. So planets that were in rebellion against the Old Republic are now part of the Empire. That's just how the world goes. I would love Baris Afi to come back as a matriarch inquisitor. How about you? Yeah, that'd have been a good story. I could have gone with that. About fan fiction, can we send short 1 or 2 page fanfics about background characters and have one featured on the EU website, maybe a competition? I would love that. I would love that. Let me write that down. I will suggest that to Christopher and see. All right, so there we go. My hour's up. I don't have to answer any of your new questions. Actually, I am, because like I said, I apologize for not putting this up. So I am going to spend, you get some bonus time, folks, bonus time here. Let's go through all these questions. Happy birthday, Nat. Yeah, happy birthday, whoever you are. Who's Nat? Oh, hi, Matt, and happy birthday. Oh, oh, thanks, Brendan. My birthday was May 31st, folks. Do I look older? Yeah, I do. Listen to Matt while playing Star Trek. Perfect afternoon. Oh, yeah. Afternoon for you. Wow. Wool. The wool. If I said wall, that's my southern accent coming through. Um, okay, yeah, look at Relic. He said that Ma Best was actually spat on by a fan. Um, yeah, I mean that's just awful. And Relic does make a good point. Kelly isn't the one who's being hated; her character is, and that's true. All the things I heard about were her character. Now, I did hear "you suck" and everything. Well, that's just because they don't. You suck, whatever. Everyone says that to the opposing competition, you know, in baseball and whatever. Happy 37th, Natalie. Oh, Natalie Portland had a birthday. When was her birthday? Hey, Natalie. um. Henry asked if Jake Lloyd got arrested in a high-speed chase a few years ago. Yes, he did. It was last year. I hope he's doing well. He had to check himself in to a mental institution, right? Because he had some issues. I hope he's doing better. Um, yeah, George Lucas is harassed by fans. That's why he sold Star Wars. He couldn't take it. He's George. He had just never been told no before, and that's what shocked him. The internet shocked him with this negativity because he never received so much negativity before. Um, oh, R.A. Salvatore, Jedi Acolyte. That's another one. He got harassed. He got hated on by fans. I felt awful for Bob. This is what people call him, Bob. Bob got hated on. In fact, Michael Stackpole and a few other authors went to bat against the fans, said, hey, guys, lighten up. He didn't kill Chewbacca. He was told to kill Chewbacca. It wasn't his idea, and you guys need to ease off because there was a lot of hate toward him, a lot of hate. And he thought, wow, I just ended my career from writing Star Wars. And that's why somehow he got the post to write the Episode 2 novel, but he couldn't come back because fans just outright hated him for killing Chewie, and that was unfair. But he got tons of ugly, ugly things said about him too. But he took it in good stride. I had him sign my New Jedi Order book, and he was like, "You're not going to hit me, are you?" I mean, he was joking, but he was like, obviously he'd heard people yell. I said, "No. In fact, I love you for this. I love what you did." He said, "Well, I didn't want to kill." I said, "No, no, it's fine. Don't apologize. You did your job. I'm proud of you. You're awesome. I hate what the fans have said to you." And he said, "Well, thank you, thank you." And he wrote, and he signed a few other books of mine too. But I got him signed that New Jedi Order book. That's one of my favorite signatures. A story isn't Star Wars anymore when the opening doesn't say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. Did the new ones not say that? The spinoffs don't, I guess. Hmm. Troy Denning got hate too for killing off character. Anyone who killed off a character got hate. Kevin J. Anderson killed off a character from the movies, a side character, and got hate. So yeah. A legend story with Zim the Despot, Jedi Acolyte. That would be cool. Yeah, I would love to see that. Jason Fry would have to write it since he's a big Zim the Despot fan. All right, Michael. My thoughts between Marvel and Star Wars expanded universe. Marvel is this is why Star Wars expanded universe, movie wise, it can't be creative. It looks like it's always going to be good guys versus Jedi versus Sith, rebellion or something named the rebellion versus the Empire or something named the Empire, and they can't get away with that. Whereas New Jedi Order gave us an alien invasion. The expanded universe gave us political crises and stuff like that. And of course, the Jedi had to battle Sith a lot, but they gave us other things in there. The reason Marvel is so popular is because, and this is in all seriousness, is because they have so many characters they can pull from and do different stories with. You wouldn't want to see an Avengers movie every year, would you? Some of you are saying yes. But eventually, if you saw the Avengers movie, all they did was the Avengers. That's all they had was the Avengers fighting the bad guy of the week. And it was the same Avengers fighting a different bad guy every movie, but it was like that for once a year. you would see the same problem that Star Wars is running into. Thankfully, Marvel didn't have to do that, which is why their franchise is alive and well. I don't even think that Disney's the problem. I think Lucasfilm's the problem. I don't even think. I almost want to take. I do take back most of the stuff I said about Disney, because it's not Disney. It's Lucasfilm. It's obvious over time. It's Lucasfilm who made their own decisions. It seems like Bob Iger was hands off. It seems like he was going to let them run themselves wherever they wanted to go, and they ran to the ground. So I have to put the blame on Lucasfilm. I can't blame Disney for anything. Luke retiring and passing away in his sleep, Quantum, is a great story. I'd take that too, just like Yoda. I think that'd be great. Can I think of any stories that cover the Mandalorian Wars? I haven't been able to find them. KOTOR. Isn't there one? Is there a comic book series that covers that a little bit? Touches on it, I think. I can't remember. I know I've reviewed it. I think there is. But there's not much on the Mandalorian Wars. The mention of the New Republic reminds me of something I've always been thinking of about the New Republic. I always thought it was a bit of a shame we didn't see more of him. I don't know who him is, Dark Phoenix. Saba Sabatine could be the Grand Master. Yeah, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. Yeah, Column, I hope I'm saying your name right. Column Jones, you stop watching some channels because they become repetitive and they got old. I agree with that. There are some channels that I just had to unsubscribe to because, like, well, you're just saying the same thing. The thing that got you popular, the thing that gets you the most views, you're just repeating yourself again. Every once in a while they come up with something new, but they like to repeat themselves because that first video made so much, got so many views, they want to do it again. And for me, just for me, people like that. People want me to do repeat myself. On Matt Chat, I will do a few repetitions of stuff that I addressed a long time ago, but I try to avoid repetition because for me it's boring. It's boring for me. A lot of people like to hear that. I try to do short videos, which a lot of people hate. Someone said, Matt, I'd love you to do an hour video. I wish your Matt's Expanded Universe was an hour long. I said, I don't. I'd have to watch it over 3 days. If it was someone made an hour-long video. If someone made an hour-long video, I'd be like, oh gosh, when am I going to find the time to watch this? That's me, though. I'm reading all these comments. This is the most exciting part, right? Where I'm just sitting here reading. It worked so well when I had Brian from Twin Sons Foundation. I was in Phoenix. I did one of these, and he was reading my comments for me and pointing them out to me. Do you think that some of the issues people having with Solo could be applied to the EU novels? It seems that they hate the idea of a backstory and explanation of stuff they don't want to know. No, I honestly think it was Last Jedi backlash. People were just so upset because, like I said, I did have a lot of friends go see it. They said they were swearing off Star Wars, but they went and saw it anyway just because they were curious. But I do have, and when I made that video, I did have some of my friends contact me and say, Matt, I did not see it. And I said, well, I'm not talking about you. So I'm guessing from those type of people, there are more people who did not see that movie, who saw Last Jedi. So I think that's the big one. And Relic, you got it right. That's the person I'm talking about on YouTube. You know me. You know me so well. Have I watched interviews with Gary Kurtz on what he wanted to do with the ending of Return of the Jedi? Yes, I have. With Luke walking off into sunset and being more of a somber ending. Yes, I have. There were some great ideas pitched to George for Return of the Jedi. Unfortunately, he wanted to do things his way. I say unfortunately. Would those stories have been better? I think so, but who knows? It would be great if the Twin Sons could donate some of those, but the thing is, though, they're so expensive that they wouldn't be able to buy that many unless they had a huge successful campaign and those things were on super sale. They could buy a few, but they want to get the most bang for your buck. And so if you're donating money, you don't want to say, hey, guess what, folks? We pooled all your money and we bought this little stack of comic books. They're really nice, though. They're the very expensive ones. We're going to give them to the kids. And you're like, well, I wish it was, 17 boxes of paperback books. That would have been even better, So if it was cheaper, yes, they'd do it. I think that'd be an excellent idea. Or if they had a really big, successful fundraiser. Oh, there's a Quantum. Yeah, Thor came out in November, then Black Panther in February, then Infinity War 2 months later. These came at 2 months, and they all did well. Yeah, so it's ridiculous how the media is saying, well, Star Wars fatigue. They came out 5 months apart, and that was their mistake. Idiots. They do not want to give credit. It's the fans. They know that. Because there's no way they're that stupid. There's no way they're that stupid. But they do not want to give credit to the fans. Because like, no. Because if I admit that they hate the movie, then that admits that, I'm not in the majority. And I want to stay in the majority. It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. So childish, too. Do you like Star Blazers? I don't even know what that is. But I would wear one. I would wear a Star Blazer. I'm sure I got that right. Did you hear about Robert J. Sawyer's Star Wars Alien Exodus? An interesting book, would have taken the EU in a different turn. Yes, it would have. To be honest, though, Triple N, I am glad they didn't make it. To me, it would be something that I probably would not have liked. But I do remember reading about Alien Exodus. It would have been totally different. Okay. Esteban, you like Solo? Great. By the way, I need to make that point that I am not against anyone hating Solo. Go see Solo if you want to see it. If you love it, that's great. My buddy who said he hated Last Jedi said he absolutely loves Solo. Loves Solo. So I'm not trying to dog the film that it was terrible. I'm just saying the fans not seeing it. I don't think they didn't go see it because it was a terrible film. I think they didn't see it because of Last Jedi backlash. And I think ooh, sorry. I think Lucasfilm has a problem with that. You can't wait for me to get the Galaxy of Fear? It's coming. It's coming. And I'm super excited to talk about Galaxy of Fear. Episode. Okay, Jedi Acolyte disagrees with me, which is fine. Episode 9 will be a deciding factor, not the deciding factor. That's fine. I disagree, obviously, but it's totally fine to disagree with me. Totally fine. People should do it more often. One of the most early reads. This is the first thing. Okay. Why did Crystal Star suck? Well, let me get to my review on that. And I'll let you know. Remember. What just happened? Huh? I lost my place. I was reading a message. I didn't touch anything. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I'm fine. Y'all questions again. Sorry about that. Oh, it's almost time, though. I'm giving you 15 extra minutes, by the way. Hold on. Sorry. Sucks you have all this dead time in here. I asked the missus if she wanted to be on here, and she said no. I said, why not? You'd be more interesting than me. Your first Star Wars novel was Vector Prime, David. Woo! That's awesome. Do you think years from now, Star Wars fans will sweep the Disney era under the rug and say they always like the EU? I think as time goes on, they may discover it, and it may become like oh, guys, have you seen the EU? It's going to be rediscovered by tons of. In fact, it's already going through a regenesis where it's being discovered all over again by people going, whoa, what is this EU? What is this expanded universe? Well, now this is a good story, and I think you're going to see more of that. One more question. Let me see if I can find it. Would have loved it. Mace Windu. Samuel Jackson believes Mace Windu's still alive. Would have loved to seen a book with Vader and Windu reuniting and fighting each other. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think he would have remained dead. And yeah, Space Ghost congratulates me on 3.3 thousand subscribers. Thank you, Space Ghost. It should be 4. I'm kidding. All right, folks, that's it. That's all the time I have. I got to get out of here. I got so much going on. Anyway, thanks a lot. It's been a ton of fun. I guess I will talk to y'all again next week. More reviews, more fun stuff. Waka, waka, waka. We're going to have a lot of fun. And guys, as always, this has been a blasty blast. See you later.